Hey guys, back again for another update on my Armies on Parade board. Kind of panicked over the last couple of days, realising that I've only got 2 weeks left to actually finish everything. So went out yesterday and bought the foam. I bought the picture frame as well to use. Bought little bits and bobs from a DIY store near to me. And yeah, I'm just going to run you through what I've been doing so far. I spent about 4 or 5 hours last night just getting everything prepped ready for like today, so that it could just dry overnight. Turned out okay. A little bit grittier than what I would have really wanted it to be, but at the same time, it's only a display board, so I'm not really too fussed because obviously my army is supposed to be the main priority for it. But what I'll do is I'll take you down now onto the floor where I've got all the bits and bobs out, and I'll run you through what I've done so far. So as I said, I spent about 4 or 5 hours last night just getting bits and pieces put down onto the board. Went out yesterday to B&Q to buy a few pieces, which were a lot cheaper than I thought they'd be. Got the picture frame here, which is just a black picture frame. The glass was broken in it, so I got 25% off. I chucked the glass in the bin anyway, so it's not like it really matters to me, so that was quite handy. B&Q are now selling this type of foam, which is actually quite nice. It's not the old stuff they used to stock where it had that kind of fibrous stuff in the middle of it. This is just literally just really thick, dense polystyrene. It was only £4 a sheet as well. It's like triple the size of what that is. So that was quite a good little find. It was only £4 as well. So what I did was last night decided to lay out a little bit of a pattern. So I've got a couple of hills. Got my main area here. A couple of little extra corner bits and what have you for bits to stand on. Add a little waste pipe and have some like neon green goop come out of there. And yeah, so I've got my friend over at Coastal Creations 3D. He does all 3D printing. He's actually sending me a Necron portal that I'm going to be putting probably up on the top here, either here, or probably put it at an angle so it's facing outwards this way. It's a really nice piece of kit. He done me a really good deal on it, so couldn't turn it down, so I'm going to get that coming in the post. All I've done to this is literally cut the foam out. I attacked it with my Dremel, which you can see up there. It's just got a little sand and grinding bit on it. Just ran over it to rough it all up and get it all rigid. I went over it with some poly filler because I did stick some bits down on here. I don't know if the camera can pick it up very well, but you can actually see it's got slightly raised areas like here, and on the top here, because I didn't want it completely flat. So I put pieces of polystyrene down, really thin, so I think it was like takeaway container thickness. Put it down. I went over it with just Poundland's poly filler. Let that dry with a heat gun, just to speed it up a little bit. And yeah, and then I started added bits of slate that I stole from my parents' garden. Went round there with a sandwich bag, filled it up, just added some bits I thought looked nice. Once they were glued down with a glue gun. Oh, that's another good thing about this polystyrene is when you put glue on it, it doesn't melt through. Whereas the old one I used to use, you put it on and it would just melt straight through. So you'd have to be like super quick sticking stuff down. But what I did was, once the filler had dried, I mixed some PVA glue with just some grey paint, just to change the colour. So when I put the glue down with a brush, I knew exactly where I'd put it. Then I went over with my gravel mix that I make myself, using birdseed gravel, bird cage gravel, and just like builder's sand. And went around the entire top areas of the board. I've done some collapsed in areas as well, so it looks like chunks have fallen out of the rock. I've done another bit down there as well. I just pretty much just waited for that to dry. Added a few little bits on, like a little pipe. These were absolutely perfect for Necron scenery. These actually came off my old sofa. These were the legs off my old sofa that I had. We were chucking it out in the garden, and I was like, they could do quite well for Necron scenery. So I kind of took all 8 of them off, shoved them in a box, and held onto them for about a year until I found a use for them, which was quite handy because they are actually completely hollow through the middle. I've done this one up as a mock-up of what I'm actually going to do. So it's got a couple of pipes in there. So these are kind of like terraforming power points, basically. So they've got a couple of leads going down, obviously, into the tomb world underneath. This is off an Annihilation barge, this top part. Just a little Necron doodad on the front. But what I'm actually going to be doing is, if I can flip this up, I've actually made holes through the bottom. So what I'm going to be doing with these is I am going to be, if I can reach it, putting these in. And this is just from Poundland, so these are just going to be going straight through the holes that I'm going to be cutting out. And this will basically light up. If I can, I'll push this one through quickly and see if I can get a mock-up of it, what it will look like. As you can see, it's got a little bit of an iridescent green glow to it. It's not majorly in your face, but it's still better than having just a solid piece of plastic. I've still got to cut out a piece for the actual battery section to fit into out the back. That's why I haven't glued the base down yet. And yeah, so I was kind of super panicking when the camera goes into focus. Okay. I was super panicking over the weekend. Had to go up town anyway, so I thought I'd pop in and see what they had. Luckily, that was the last piece of styrene, and that was actually the last picture frame, so kind of got there at a good time. So all in all, this build probably cost me about £10, which is really good. I'm super chuffed with it. But the bits that I'm going to be adding to it are, obviously I've got quite a few flying pieces. So I've got my Night Scythe, I've got my command barge, I've got some tomb blades and a spider and things like that. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be inserting these pieces of coat hanger just randomly into a few spots, probably one in the middle, probably one at the back there, one really quite long one just at the bottom corner there, so I can have my Night Scythe on it, and that way it's not filling up the actual base of the board. So all the flying things and the things that are meant to hover and stuff, they can be elevated above the ground units, so that kind of adds another little dimension to it. But it is quite a large board. If I get one of my models down, see, that's a Necron warrior on the board, so it is quite big. But obviously all of my models won't be going on this, so I'll have a few models here and there scattered around. Probably only 2 units of Necrons. They'll be dotted about here, there and everywhere. I'll have my unit of Immortals as well. I'm going to put, obviously my Lord and all his retinue will be up the top here. I'll have the command barge smack bang in the middle. But yeah, they'll be painted. The base is going to be painted the same as my Necrons are. Focus, yeah. So that'll be like a grey kind of colour. But at the moment, I'm just rummaging through my box of bits to try and find some more appropriate pieces to add to the board. Really, I found a couple of Doom Scythe cannons that I was actually tempted to mount one over on the top there and use it as like a sentry gun, but to be honest, I'm probably just gonna get the one off my old Annihilation barge and just put that on the top like that, so it looks like a proper little Tesla based sentry gun. But I'll put a post up to see if I can get another one of those, and I can just make it into another little pylon. There will be a lot of LEDs on this because I've actually bought some proper quartz crystals, clear ones off eBay. They were £3 for like 100 grams, so I'll probably get like 2 or 3 crystals in a bag, so I got like 2 bags. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pierce a hole straight through where the crystals are, put the crystal on top, glue it down with some Gorilla Glue clear, and then shove the LED up through it, and that way it will illuminate through the crystal and make it look green, to kind of match with my Necrons. So I'm going to have them just scattered about everywhere. So the rules for it are you can have up to a 2 foot by 2 foot board, but for me that's just a little bit too big. Obviously this will fit into one of Games Workshop's cabinets, so if they wanted to put it in the window, it is actually small enough that it can fit in the window. and it's also small enough that I don't have to try and walk from the car park to Games Workshop and crap myself basically thinking I'm going to fall over at some point and destroy like a decent amount of work. But obviously there will be bigger boards there. I'm not going for like crazy big. I'm going for more detail and precision. So I'm going for more like LEDs and all stuff like that, really, to kind of give mine the edge over just the basic plastic painted boards with an army on top. So my army's not probably the best army that I could have entered, because not many people tend to really give a crap about Necrons, but unfortunately that's the only 40k one I have. So it was either that or a Sigmar army, which I don't actually have, apart from that pile of Marines on the floor there. I was going to try and destroy my monolith, because I wanted to use it on a board, but obviously this board is far too small for it. The only place that I could really put it would be in the top corner over here. But at the same time, I don't really want to have my monolith on the board, because it's not the best painted. I actually painted that when I was waiting for my daughter to be born. I hadn't slept for about 36 hours. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was sitting there trying to paint the monolith to keep my mind occupied, really. So that's the result of being severely sleep deprived. What I'll do is I'll lay out some models on the board now, just to give you an idea of where things will go and what things look like, and I shall be back in a second. Basically taking all the models off my shelves that I'm going to be putting on there for now, and this is pretty much what it's going to look like. So what I've done is I've embedded pieces of the coat hanger into the base, so it looks like units are flying. What I'm going to do is add another one of these over straight through that bit there, coming up here, so I can have another flyer there. Same with the command barge as well, because obviously I've got, with Necrons, there are quite a lot of flying models, so what I've done is to save on a bit of space. Actually, I could probably put him up. No, I can't put him up there. What I've done to save a bit of space is I've just basically taken what I've done on the bases there and just implanted it straight into there. So what I'll do is I'll actually glue these in place properly. I've got another one of those to go on, but I don't have any more pieces of rod left, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do with him is, obviously this space here is going to be designated for him. So up about this high as well, the same with all these. So you've got 2 over there, 2 over this side. Tried to keep as many of the scarabs as I could with little Nibbly, as I call him, my Tomb Spider. Obviously you've got the 2 main characters which I've based this army around over there. This is where the portal's going to be, so that's going to be a big old portal over there, which is going to be underlit with LEDs as well, so it's all shining up green. And yeah, so I'm pretty chuffed at the fact that I can fit my whole army on here, really. So I have worked hard on it. It's an army that I absolutely cherish and I adore, so it's only right that I get to show them off. I put my entire load of Necron warriors over there, so that's taken up pretty much like 90% of the base. All these little bases here, all the ones with nothing on them, they're actually going to have scarab swarms, so they'll be like that. Any scarabs that I do actually have left, I'm probably just going to implant into the the base at some point. I'm going to be doing green water effects over this base as well. All these bases here, these are actually going to be for the Immortals, so they'll be led by, I'm kind of going with the whole Clone Wars thing, so it's like a Jedi leading a squad, so you've got him leading the Immortals, because he's obviously a big of a lord that I converted. You've got my old school lord there leading the troops forward. I've got 3 wraiths back there, heavy destroyer, the cryptek up the top there, giving all those oogie boogie, making things all good. Command barge is up here. The lord is pinned, so if I want to put him on a base, I can if I want. Night sights up here. Because obviously I wanted to utilise the space behind here, but there's not enough room to fit an actual, fit an actual base in there. So what I've done is just jammed one of them through the middle pretty much and put him there. He'll obviously be there as well. And yeah, that's essentially what my board is going to look like. Obviously I will be putting crystals on here, so there will be a few crystals popping up in between things, so I'll probably have a cluster of crystals popping up here. I'll probably have a couple popping up here. I'll have some on the corner here as well, and over here where I've just got bits of empty space. And yeah, so I was going to put my Catans on here as well, but I'm not kind of sure I want to, because I've had them models for so long. And they're not really in the best of condition. They've been painted, stripped, painted, stripped, painted, stripped, and the detail is like destroyed. But yeah, so I've just got to paint everything now. Oh, another thing is, you're probably wondering why I've painted all this bit black and left everything else. The reason why I've done this is because when you spray paint onto polystyrene, the chemicals in the spray paint can actually cause polystyrene to melt. So if you paint over it with a coat of paint or anything, it actually stops that from happening. But what I'm going to do is go over this black area again with some PVA, just to give it that little bit of extra oomph, as it were. I'm also going to spray all over the top with a spray bottle, spray water down PVA over everything, just to keep everything glued and stuck down, because sometimes with big projects like this they have bits of stone, so you end up with like a massive chunk of like that colour poking through, which isn't what I want. I did actually mix in with the PVA as well when I put the sand on. I did mix grey in with that just to kind of colour it a little bit, but obviously you can't see it with the sand on there. But yeah, so I'll catch you guys in a second. So I've got quite a busy week ahead of me. Got a commission that I've got to finish now in the next couple of days, so this is going to be getting shelved until my my portal turns up, and until I can really be bothered to finish it, really. I've got about 3 or 4 days I've allocated on my calendar through the next month just to get it done, but say with my commission work, you can never really tell. You might have a day where you've just got to sit. I've got to sit and paint like 24 Warg riders over there. I've got some trackers I've got to paint down here. Once they're done, then I've got to base an entire army, so that's going to take a good 2 or 3 days. But what I'm going to try and do is hopefully get up nice and early in the morning. I feed the little one at 7, so as soon as she's fed and dressed, then what I'll do is I'll come straight in here and see if I can get a good 3 or 4 hours worth of work done onto the board, just to get it to the point where obviously it's finished. Well, I say 90%, 70% of the work is just going to be spray paint work, really, and airbrush work. What I'm going to do is obviously do what I did in my bases video that I did for this. Spray it black with Poundland black, spray it all black, and then I'm going to spray it with the grey primer from Poundland, and then it's pretty much just a case of dry brushing the crap out of it, really. I am going to, obviously where the crystals go, I am going to airbrush some moot green around the base area of the crystals, just so it looks a bit more, not like the crystals are just stuck there, really. So it does give them like a little bit of a glow. That's just easy enough to do with a bit of white and a bit of moot green. I'll do that in a few areas. Obviously I'll do the water effects with the Poundland resin, so I don't use a lot of that on my bases, because otherwise it gets super hot and it melts anything it will touch. So I just mix up in a shot glass, probably about that much, about a centimetre, mix up, and I'll just blob little bits here and there. It just adds that little extra detail. I'll probably put some skulls on as well at some point, because I watched quite a Terminator-y type of theme for my Necron, so I'll probably pop a little pile of skulls on here and there, see if I can find any little bits and pieces to add. But yeah, apart from that, it's pretty much nearly done, actually. I'm quite happy. I've got my mortals that need to get painted. I've got a few more units that need to get painted, but they can take a matter of a couple of hours to get finished. And yeah, and then it's on to onto Armies on Parade. So what I'll do is I'll do a video of when I'm there anyway, just showing you guys what's about, all the entries. When I went a couple of years back, it was pretty mental. You had people with like dry ice machines and stuff stuck into models. You've had people that were running entire light armies. But what I'm hoping is, obviously, I'm not hoping it's not nice for the person, but I'm hoping that a couple of people enter with some Forge World stuff, because obviously if they enter with Forge World stuff and they win, they can't take the win because they're not allowed to enter Forge World stuff at a Games Workshop event, because obviously they can't supply it. And yeah, so hope you enjoy this video, guys, and obviously I'll make another video in a few days, possibly next 3 or 4 days, showing you a bit more progress and showing you how I'm getting on with the board. So happy wargaming, guys, and I'll catch you later.